What's autonomic dysregulation?
That's something that I'd like to throw in there too, because people have heard the word POTS or dysautonomia. And so all that means is a fancy word for means dysfunction, dysfunction of the autonomic nervous system.
Okay.
And so concussions usually, not always for all people, but usually go hand in hand with dysautonomia and POTS, which is something else that I'm seeing in the community a lot.
How does that reveal? How do you see that in yourself? How do you know you have that if you're a person?
Well,
What
a big
symptoms?
indicator, which is not diagnostic, so you have to see a practitioner for this, but if you believe you're struggling with that a little bit, is kind of what I told you about the going from laying to standing and having that kind of curtain fall type, like, ooh, oh my gosh. So blood pressure.
A lot of people call that a head rush, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nothing normal about that. There's nothing. You shouldn't have curtains, or people say, oh, you just stood up a little bit too fast.
Yeah.
There's no such
happens
thing.
to me all the time.
Yeah.
Spoke from the heavens.
Yeah, that's I should have told you that's
Sorry,
so
I
Hill
realized
from
I didn't talk yet.
usually we test
This is really hidden.
Usually we test the volume so that you don't get scared like that, but I was saving that just for you. No. Explain that, man? So you go to get out of bed in the middle of the night to go get some Greek yogurt or something and you pass out?
I don't late night snack anymore, but it's very intermittent.
Liar.
It's very intermittent. It'll show up a couple times a month or something, or there's a period of my life where it happens a lot, and then it won't.
Come
I don't
see
know.
me.
Yeah, what's the period? What's the period of your life? Like a time of year?
I don't know. Yeah, I'd say couple months out of the year.
Oh, but it might not be just it might not be like the Thanksgiving holiday.
No, but
it's different.
I mean, it happens constantly throughout the year. A couple of months, it's worse. But yeah, you stand up and can't,
Yeah, sounds
stood up too fast.
Sounds like you need to beeline it for Capel, Texas, brother.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be sending everybody from up here your way. What do you think you think he hit his head somewhere along the way?
I don't know. I guess because, and that can have so many different sources, right? It could be viral. It could be bacterial. It could be hypoxic, lack of oxygen. It could be concussion-based, head injury-based. So I guess for him, I'd have to sit and figure out, okay, where is this coming from? And sometimes where is it coming from really does give us, okay, how do we attack it? But a lot of the times it's more of, okay, how can we figure out what's going on right now?
So you would get into Sohill's his hereditary, his grandparents' health, his parents' health. Is there any family history?
Yeah,
things
everything.
of that nature.
If it past infections, past everything. So, yeah.
People don't understand how bad it is to breathe mold. You scanned over that when you were talking about some of the things that you've been through in your life.
Yeah.
When I went and got all of my brain tests done and kind of found out what the trouble I was in, I mean, an hour was spent on that subject. Have you ever worked? And I was like, yes, I'm a contractor, but have you ever lived? Have you ever slept somewhere where you knew there was a leaky roof? Or what is breathing the mold? When you're asleep, usually you're breathing through your nose. Mm-hmm. Obviously, nose straight to brain. I mean, that's why.
Yeah.
That's why you do the good drugs that way, right? It's just straight effect.
Yeah.
So if you're breathing mold in, what is that doing to your brain? What happens when you do that? When you breathe in mold spores?
Mold spores, much like other pathogens, can be very destructive because they attack your immune system. And so one thing that we need to understand is very simple. If your immune system is being constantly attacked by a low-grade infection of whatever kind, you're not going to have enough energy for brain process. So if there is a little bit too much going on here and you're constantly trying to put out a low fire, your brain isn't going to have all the ATP or energy production that it needs to make brain cells fire appropriately or adapt appropriately, like neuroplasticity. And so my biggest issue with some of that is, you going through life, I do believe there's some people that are a little too obsessed with it. And we can't avoid pathogens. They're everywhere. Mold is everywhere. Parasites are everywhere. Viruses are everywhere. But you need to live a life conducive to lowering the counts of infection in your immune system to fight that off, so that your brain can have also the rest of the energy too. Because keep in mind, your body, I agree with you. I think we were created. It's just such an intelligent process that I will say, okay, I have two fires and I need to put them out at once. So take a person with a concussion that has a low chronic infection constantly. That brain can't heal because it's being robbed of energy, because all of the nutrients, even if you're eating the healthiest ever, all of those vital nutrients are going to fight whatever immune process is going, because it doesn't matter that you remember things very well as much as can you make it till the next day? Is that pathogen going to take a hold of you? You know what I mean? So if you start thinking about your brain as your best friend, and it's like, I want you to be successful, but I'm going to need to prioritize things in order for you to be successful.
Sure.
It will start taking away things. And so energy is one of the first things that goes away. It kind of goes more into you need to rest, or, hey, I can only give you about this amount of energy for you to focus and do that efficiently, because the rest of it needs to go over here so that I can heal the immune system.